So like 7 years ago, which is crazy to think about, I did a video of my top 5 anime films. And honestly, those 5 are still great. I believe it was Redline, Tokyo Godfathers, Kiki's Delivery Service, Porco Rosso, and Millennium Actress. And those 5 are still some of my favorites. But I decided to sit down and tell you about 10 more anime films that I really enjoy and think you should check out. I try to pick ones that are standalone, so not stuff from, an existing series, except for the exception of one of these. Let's just jump into it. First off is Blue Giant. This was a film that actually my friend Jay, who also edits the videos, recommended to me. And it is truly phenomenal. It is about a kid who goes to Tokyo to become, a jazz player. And it's based off a manga, and the manga actually, the movie jumps past the first arc. But I didn't, need any of that. Honestly, I understood the movie totally fine without reading it. Such a passionate film. Like, this guy meets these 2 other guys, and they start like a jazz group, and it just gets so emotional and visceral. I was just weeping in the club watching this movie. And some of the most incredible animation I've seen in a very long time. Especially if you like stuff about music. My God, it is a phenomenal movie. Speaking of music, the second one is part of a series. It's called Liz and the Bluebird. Sound Euphonium is one of my favorite anime of all time, and Liz and the Bluebird technically takes place during like 3rd season. It's this weird intermediary part, but it is. I think you can watch it honestly on its own. It's about 2 high school girls playing concert band who kind of had some a bit of a drifting apart. It's about them just sort of coming back together and having to deal with, what are their futures gonna be? These were 2 girls that, were always really close, and then they were kind of split apart, and now what's gonna happen with them in their futures? And it's just a beautifully animated film. It looks completely different than how Sound Euphonium looks, and I don't think you need to watch the rest of the show to appreciate it. I think you'll appreciate it more if you do watch the show, and I highly recommend the show. I actually recently finally got to finish Sound Euphonium Season 3, and I just had a great time. I love Sound Euphonium, but even if you haven't seen it, Liz and the Bluebird is just a beautiful movie. The next movie is Onaku Our Sound. This is, another music movie. I'm realizing I like a lot of stuff about music. Maybe it's because I was in band or whatever, or high school band. But it's about a bunch of high school guys who discover music for the first time. They sort of jam out, and they're not good, but they just love it so much that we're the best that's ever been, and we fucking rule. And it's just watching these guys, these unexpected guys, just go full into music, just the passion of it. It's also extremely funny. It's a very sort of dry comedy with some really absurdist sequences. The style is great. I laughed my ass off, and I don't know. Music anime movies, man. It's they're the best. This one's a very different sort of feel than the previous 2 I mentioned, but still just as great. Highly recommend it. Next up is Only Yesterday. This is a Studio Ghibli film that is much slower paced. It's not fantastical at all. And I hear a lot of people think this movie's boring. I think you're boring if you think this movie is boring. It's a really just heartfelt film about this woman who's going back to her hometown, and she's just remembering her childhood. I don't know, man. I just connected with it so hard. I think there's some really emotional moments, some really sweet moments. But, I guess if it doesn't have a Totoro or a moving castle, then it's boring. I don't get it, man. To me, this movie, I was so swept up in it. And, I'm not old, but as I get older, I guess I just resonate more with films that deal with themes of nostalgia and remembering things. I feel like if you're young and you watch this, you're gonna think it's boring as hell. But maybe wait 10 years and you'll get it. It's fun, sort of seeing how I engage with fiction and media as I grow older, and what I connect with. I used to connect with these types of stories, and as I'm older, I connect with different types of stories. It's neat to see sort of how my progression goes, and 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I'm sure I'll engage with media in a different way as well, and maybe resonate more with other types of stories will resonate with me. But anyway, I think it's an extremely underrated Studio Ghibli film, and I think it's one of the best. The next movie is Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop. This is an extremely light movie. It's just like the definition of like a summer movie. It's about this high school kid who's really shy and he can only like communicate with haiku. And then this girl who is really self-conscious about her buck teeth, so she wears a mask. And it's like this very sweet summer romance. Like, these two very self-conscious, anxious, teens meeting in their friendship. And, I just loved it. I don't need every movie to be extremely emotionally devastating or whatever movie. I just thought it was so charming. Yeah, like I said, the definition of summer, like a sweet summer romance. I really enjoyed it, and I think the animation's great. I mean all these movies have great animation, but I loved the colors in the film. It's like a really good soda pop, this movie. Another sweet movie, cute movie is Heart and Yummy, or You Are Umoso. It's about a T-Rex who was raised as an herbivore when he was a kid, and then he grows up, and then he kind of like leaves and stumbles upon, it was like an ankylosaurus. I'm not a dinosaur guy, but a little baby like ankylosaurus, and like sort of becomes the unexpected like guardian of this little dinosaur. It's so cute, so sweet. The performances are great. It's interesting. There's a lot of these movies, or not a lot, but some of these movies deal with this kind of like, predator and prey. Like, there's one I watched recently called Arashi no Yoruni, which is about like a goat and a wolf sort of becoming friends. And that one didn't really, it was alright. It was pretty good, but it didn't like nail the landing for me. But something like Heart and Yummy, yeah, it's very light. It's very cutesy. But I was just so, charmed by it. And I just loved seeing the, this big T-Rex, like, having to do, like, how do I deal with, raising a little baby, and, and then it's like, oh, there's this conflict of, like, other T-Rexes are, like, judging him or whatever. It's great. It's cute. Another cute one. Next one is Lou Over the Wall. Another cute one. This is a Yuasa film, and it really shows in a great way. I love Yuasa's films, and this one is about it. I describe it as like if Ponyo became like a viral dancing star, and the consequences of that. If you haven't seen any of Yuasa's films, the animation is just so imaginative and so bonkers. And just when I was watching this movie and I saw this little fish girl start to dance, the way she danced, I was like, this is gonna be a great movie. And it was a great movie. It might be a little too long, maybe. Like, I think it could have benefited from like 25% shorter, but I still had a great time with it. Definitely just like a much better Ponyo. Just a goofier, more creative Ponyo. And I like Ponyo fine. Like, it's a cute movie, but just like almost like Yuasa's take on that. So there's more going on under the hood, I think. So it's not just pure fluff. I think it handles some pretty interesting themes. But yeah, it's a great, very enjoyable film. Another movie that's in a similar sort of vein of like discovering a creature is Summer Days with Ku, which I don't think a lot of people have seen, or at least I don't know anyone who's seen it. But it's about a kappa who, I think he gets frozen. He falls on a crevice and like gets fossilized or frozen, I think. And then he, and that was like in feudal Japan. And then in modern day, this kid finds him, and it's about this kid like raising this kappa, and it's a very slice of life. But then it turns into like a really kind of sad, like, because they kind of keep the kappa a secret, and then the outside world finds out about it, and it's like a really realistic kind of just damning look at humanity of like, wow, this could just be like a really nice thing and humans ruin it, you know? Some really just great themes. It's emotional, it's sweet, bittersweet, I would say. Just happened to watch it one day and I was like, this is great. So, yeah, and humans suck. So, it's always nice to watch movies and remind myself of how much humanity sucks. I mean, I'm on the internet every day, so I know how much humans suck, but yeah. Anyway, great movie. Another Yuasa film I really enjoyed is Ride Your Wave, which I don't even want to necessarily say what the premise of this is, because I didn't know what it was, and when I watched it, I was like, what the fuck? That's what this movie is about? But I will say it starts as like a very like sweet summer romance type movie. And then it just goes in a direction I had no idea it was going to go in what I thought was a great way. And it becomes very bizarre, but emotional and still sweet. Yeah, just a very imaginative film. But I honestly encourage you to not look up what it's about. Just go into it, enjoy it. It's a Yuasa film. It's just always very enjoyable to watch his movies. And that one, man. As soon as I was like, oh, that's what this movie's gonna be about, huh? Okay, I'm on board. I was already enjoying it, but now I'm extra on board. Yeah, another great one. And finally, here's a deep cut. This is from 1978, Ringing Bell. I had a great time with this movie, and what I love about this movie, because it's a Sanrio movie, and you look at the cover, it's like, oh, it's a cute little lamb, cute little Disney lamb. And this movie is about this cute little Disney lamb, la 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 la, whose mom is killed by a wolf, and it turns into this fucking metal, like, revenge story. It's so good. I loved it. I was like, this took such a turn. It goes hardcore. I loved it. I can't believe it was a Sanrio film. And it's not long either. It's maybe like an hour or something like that. Highly recommend it. It's such a just interesting movie. And just seeing it shift is just fucking awesome. All right, that was 10 anime movies I really enjoy. I like doing these kinds of anime recommendation videos. I haven't done one in a long time, I think. So if you like this kind of video, let me know in the comments what other types of anime recommendation videos you'd like to see me do. Or manga. I've been reading some more manga lately. Yeah, cool. Peace.